Hi, everyone. It's Arthur here at Arthur Ease Your Mind on YouTube. And I'm a psychic, so I tell people, intuitive consultant and psychic advisor, which means I make everything up and hope it happens. Just kidding. And people have asked me, I just want to say thank you to everyone that has been subscribing. Anyone that's new here tonight, thank you for joining us. It's really nice to have you here. You guys have been tremendous, and it's been incredible, this ride on YouTube with everybody here. I wouldn't be here without you. And that being said, good news, Mel Door is on the mend. We did a show on Saturday with Linda and others, but the man gives so much, and he's been out of work for a bit. I'm just going to request, just if you want to give him a donation, here's his Venmo information at Melvin-Door at Venmo. Okay, he's a really kind soul, and there's a soft spot in my heart because if it wasn't for Mel, I wouldn't be here. Well, I think my parents had something to do with that too, but that's a whole nother story. But he's the one that first invited me onto his show and actually told me I was going to be doing YouTube before I even knew it. So he's a damn good psychic and medium. I just help people on medium rare. But anyway, so thank you for joining us. We've got lots of questions here. And we've got the one and only Miss Sherry in the background, because I cannot walk, talk, chew gum, read, and look at questions at the same time. So if anyone needs like what I call the Cajun version of a reading, talk to Miss Sherry. And if anybody wants to get hold of me when I'm not walking up down the street with a sandwich board that says we'll read for food, you can reach me here at arthureaseyourmind.com. And I'm going to put a ticker up, whatever they call it, that a lot of people hate, but it is what it is. All right. We're doing political and not personal. And if you can put them in caps, old people like me and Sherry, we need the caps. It helps, or else I'll be sitting here with glasses. I probably will be wearing glasses later. But anyway, so in the meantime, we did have some questions on the post, aka community board. So I'm going to go through some of those, and then we'll get to your questions. So again, thanks everybody for being here this afternoon. Well, it's evening for some people. It's morning for some people. For me, it's 3:30 in the afternoon here in Los Angeles on Sunday, is it the 23rd of March? Okay. So one of the first questions is from M. Franz. Will Social Security age and amounts change? Will the field offices and personal get restored after this regime? You mean the Fourth Reich? Yeah, it will. I feel they may change the Social Security age, though. But then again, when they did that in France, there were riots in the street. So let's see what happens here. About amounts change. They already took the money away from us when we were 16, so I don't know. I always love when people say it's an entitlement, or like, Muskrat is saying it's an entitlement program, it's a Ponzi scheme, it's all this and that, whatever. Yeah, we're entitled to that money. You've been taking it since I was 16 years old. So if you want to give it to me all in one lump sum with the interest involved for, how many years that is, then I'll take that. But anyway, I do see there might be talk about an age, changing the age. But as far as the amounts, I'm not seeing that. As far as delays in checks, I know there's a lot of concern. I pulled card. I don't really use cards, but I was pulling cards on this earlier, and I was feeling it's a lot of saber rattling, sword rattling, whatever it's called, and people going nuts and crazy with it. They just love to cause commotion. And if that's the case, if they were to do that, there'd be a lot of people being run over by people from the scooter store and me and a lot of others. Okay. So I don't see it happening. Now, Lucy asked, hello, Arthur, love and appreciate you. And I appreciate all of you, really. My question is my concern for some of our gutsy leaders like AOC, Jasmine Crockett, Bernie Sanders, and Tim Walz. Will they and their families be safe? Yeah. I mean, they're taking precautions. They're taking precautions. But have you seen the crowds with Bernie Sanders and AOC? They're amazing. And I did not see this, but Sherry was just mentioning that when Bernie Sanders agreed to sit down and do an interview, the guy just kept him plugging away about AOC, running for president, all this kind of crap. And he just got up and walked out. So good for Bernie. And this shows you the legacy media, corporate media as I'm calling it, still is trying to play Trump's game. And it's not going to work. Now, Regina Mudd asks, do you see more planes crashes or problems with maintenance issues? We're going into vacation travel soon. I understand that. I'm not seeing things like what happened in Philadelphia or DC. I am seeing some, like in Denver when the plane caught on fire. Things of that nature. When also what was in Seattle where two planes bumped into each other on the tarmac. I think it was a Delta and a ANA. I think it was a Japanese airline. But anyway, I still see there's problems, but I don't see planes falling out of the sky. Okay. And I would just say if you're going to travel, just take your time with it. Don't rush through things. Just take your time. Ree Peacock. Arthur, give us some ease. Well, after this show, you might lose your mind. I know timelines are weird to predict, but please, how close can you get to what finally comes in? Fellow viewers, I've had a personal reading with Arthur. Try it. Very, very good. Thank you. What I've been saying all along, I predicted this back in, I think, October. I said in March, there's going to be some changes. And I thought it was about, Kamala. But then after the election, I still got changes in March. And I said after the Ides of March, which was on the 15th, starting around the 17th, 18th, and 19th, things would start shifting and the mirror would start cracking. And on those dates is when Trump started to defy the judges and started just doing what he wanted to do, causing a constitutional crisis. And the mirror is starting to crack. And what I said is by the end of this month of March, that there's something going to be coming down that was going to go WTF and start scratching their heads. I don't feel it's like they're going to be taking away Social Security, okay? I just feel it's something Looney Tune outrageous. It's not like sending troops into Panama or Greenland or Canada, but he may be signing something. That's kind of like, what? And making our closest allies into our enemies and making our enemies into our closest allies doesn't make sense. But we're dealing with a blob boss. So anyway, and then I feel that as we get into June and July, that's when there's a lot of changes coming down that in the long run benefit the country. And then I was getting September, he may be not there. Or by the end of the year. That's the way I see it. I could be wrong, but that's what the guides have always given me. And we'll take it from there. But I just see that we get through this. And we get through it together, because that's the only way we're going to do it. Okay? And Steve from Diane, Steve Bannon and some groups in Tennessee are working to amend the Constitution to have Trump serve a third term. What will happen? Well, he's not even going to serve this whole term, so don't worry about it. Okay? I don't think what he's going to do? Serve a third term with a Ouija board? Never mind. All right. So in the meantime, people are asking, what can we do? What can we do? You can do this. Go to fivecalls.org. It'll help you get to your representatives, who your representatives are. They have templates, how to talk to people, who to call, where to send emails, where to send snail mail. Okay? I do this. I've been doing it twice a week for some time now, since I first found out about fivecalls.org. And my friends are too. And also, this is a wonderful app that friends told me about. Goods Unite Us. It's available on Apple and Android app stores. I'm not connected with any of these people, but Goods Unite Us will tell you. You put in a company name, they have a listing, and they tell you who they donate to in percentage-wise, like X amount to Republicans, X amount to Democrats. And I was shocked to find out that some of the places I was shopping at or getting pizza were actually giving all their money away to Republicans. So they're off my list. Okay? Just like all the stores that the DEI thing, what's Target? I don't know what that is anymore. Okay? So let's get some questions here. And there's 958 people that have no lives and are here sharing it with us. Hi. Okay. So let's go to some questions. Matthew. Hello, great shows. My question is based on your history. What % of the time are your guides accurate in regards to political predictions? It's not like I keep a running list, but people have told me. But I can give you two examples. When I did my very first show with Linda G, it was July 12th, 2023, but who's counting? And we were talking about the Blvd boss. And I said, you know what? He's going to be indicted on the 27th of this month. He was indicted on the 27th. And then I was doing a show with someone else. And the question was, when is he going to be indicted in Georgia? And I said, in 8 days. I was off by 1 hour. Because the guys told me 8 days, but Fonnie Willis released everything. If she released it at midnight, it would have been 8 days. She released it at 11 o'clock. So it was 7 days, 23 hours. I think that speaks for itself. Now, I don't get everything right, but I do share the story. I didn't share it before, but I've just started to. When the election came down, I was ready to quit politics. I'll just do, is my boyfriend going to call me? Those kind of calls. I sat on my couch. I hadn't slept in 3 days. Closed my eyes, and I opened them, and I was sitting in Gene Dixon's office. As some of you know, Gene was the one who steered me into this direction back in 1988. So she was sitting at her desk, and she just put her hands like this and leaned forward and said, I didn't always get it right, but that doesn't mean you got this wrong. You're not giving up. You got to stay. You're not going away. Basically is what she was saying. So I'm still here. Yep, I'm like Yvonne DiCarlo from Polly singing, I'm still here. Okay? So I hope that answers your question, Matthew. But I don't keep a running total of my predictions per se. Sometimes it's like, yeah, I got that. Because I just know. It's been close. But the other things I predicted, like when I did Linda's very first show, we were talking about Trump. And I said, I'm not worried about Trump. You got to be alive to be a president. Entertainment purposes only. And then I said, if he were to be in office and something were to happen, someone called Dr. Van Helsing. But there's no heart to stake. Anyway, moving on. Next question. Let's see here. Thank you, Matthew. Mystical Magic. Hello, Arthur. Will the president of Venezuela negotiate the release of the prisoners in El Salvador? Eventually. Yes. And also, I feel there's going to be some court orders. Some of those guys are going to be coming back. Others are going to be caught in some legal battles. But I do. It kind of reminds me of the hostage situation with Iran with Jimmy Carter. But I do feel that, I mean, Jimmy Carter negotiated everything, and then they released him as soon as Reagan was president, so it looked like it was all Reagan's doing. But I do feel that by the end of 2025, I want to say most of them, they're back. Okay, but it's going to take some battles. But the courts are going to stand up to the diapered one. Okay. Hope that answers your question. Hi, Jill Schaefer Hammond. There's been discussion of collaborative action by Joint Chiefs, CIA, former elected presidents, VI vice presidents, Supreme Court justices to remove Trump et al. From office. Do you see it happen? As I said earlier, yes. Now, I've always had the vision. I'm not saying this is how it's going to happen, but the vision I've always gotten was some type of military people march into the office and say, "Sir, you're done." And I've also always seen him in a gurney with handcuffed to a gurney. What that vision means, I have no idea. But to me, metaphorically, he's out. Okay? Now, when is it going to happen? As you know, this stuff is fluid. But what I do feel is, let's see what happens in June, July, and then when we get to September. Because when I see September, it's like it's hitting the fan. And if you turn the fan off, it's still on the fan. Okay? Thank you, Joe. Hi, Linda. Can you give us a general time frame for a change in executive office? Before 2030? That kind of goes with what I was just talking about. But when there is a change in executive branch, remember, the cabinet goes away and maybe qualified people will come in. And then we don't have what I call hedgehog, who's more worried about DUIs than DEI. Anyway, entertainment purposes only. Thank you, Linda. Hi, Meg. You mentioned something in passing last week about a big earthquake off the Oregon coast. Any more about that? Thanks. Well, I was asked about earthquakes and what I was seeing. I think it was the show I did with Linda. And I had mentioned that I felt something about Oregon in the ocean, off of, I think I even said Portland. But as far as a time frame, if you're planning to go there soon, I'm not worried about it. Okay, I'd say don't go if I thought it was soon. But I don't feel it's going to be like some huge tsunami and wiping the place out. It's an earthquake. Okay, it's not like, in the movie 2012 where California goes sliding into the ocean, and I was sitting in the theater going, "Oh my God, I can see my house from here." So, yeah, I want to say September, but it's not going. I don't feel like a 7.9, anything like that. Okay, it's just they're shifting. Gaia's correcting herself, doing what needs to be done. Okay. Thank you. Hi, Virgo Animal Whisperer. I saw Mary Trump interview Randy Rainbow. Oh my God, I got to watch that. And she said Trump's legal middle name is Jessica, not John. Let's discuss. Oh, I love Randy Rainbow. And that's his real name, by the way. That's his actual name. He's originally from Florida. I'm a huge fan. But he always refers to Trump as Jessica instead of John. Donald Jessica Trump. That makes sense, doesn't it? Thank you. Thanks for the check hole. Hi, Earth Mama. I love solo Arthur shows. So do I. I like all the shows I do. My question, will Marco take the blame for El Salvador's imprisonments. Trump is blaming him. Will he walk away? Don't you need a spine to walk? I've never seen a jellyfish walk. But then apparently he did stand up to Trump. And as I told some people, you know the deck that Linda uses, the protection deck with the crazy, eerie kids? I did pull one on this question because I saw it earlier. Public burnout. Public life burnout. I feel he will walk away. I don't see he's going to. But then again, I also feel this cabinet is not going to be around for 4 years. Okay? So I feel he does walk away. He has enough. And yeah. Hi, Helen. Don't ask me to say your last name because I will sound like a high school teacher that doesn't know how to pronounce names. Is Anonymous going to release information about the election being stolen by the illegitimate White House squatter to the media outlets? As they would say in the movie Fargo, you betcha. Yeah. A lot of stuff is going to be coming out. They've already been leaking stuff. And the mirror's cracking, people. So we'll see. Okay? Hi, Sandra. Hello, Arthur. Wondering if I could read on our... Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. Mark Carney, Liberal leader, running in October for PM. What's your question? He gets it. Okay. Hi, Sage, with the cute little kitty cat. Hi, Arthur. What can each of us do on a small scale to help the ouster of the regime happen faster? Or is there anything to do? 5calls.org. It's a start. Goods Unite Us. It's a start. I'd say call the White House, but why bother? But they do log the calls. But as far as what we can do is make our voices heard. And in little ways. I was just watching this morning on YouTube about a man. This woman was harassing him and his children on one of the United buses at the airport, LAX. And she was cursing him out and all this kind of stuff, calling him an Indian. And this guy's like a known photographer for Vogue and everything. And so the woman was obnoxious, and they finally got her ejected off this little bus. And not the man she was calling all these slurs and his family. But a lot of the people in that bus stood up as well. So even though it may sound like a small thing, it's still a big thing. Anytime your voice is heard, you might not, the crowd may not hear it, but if one or two people hear it, that's enough. All right? I'm off my soapbox now. I'm shorter. Will we ever become friends with Cuba again? 3 years. 3 years. I mean, they're already revoking work permits and everything for Cubans, so it's not pretty. Cynthia, hi. I live in small town Iowa. Hi, Iowa. I take the handicap ride when I need to go someplace. Do you think I should take my ID and birth certificate with me when I am out? I would get certified copies of everything and take copies with you. I've already taken photos of my passport, ID, and everything is my phone. Because I'm afraid if they were to detain me for some bizarre reason, they would take my passport. Who knows when I get it back? So I've got copies on my phone. I've got copies on the cloud. I've got copies of the copies. So I think everyone, if we travel, regardless, travel with your identification. It may seem like a hassle, but it might be a hassle that's worthwhile in the long run. Okay? So the answer to that is yes. Some form of your ID. Hi, Teresa Spriggs. What is the final answer for Social Security? Why does the Secretary of the Social Security's mother get Social Security? Isn't he a billionaire? There's the fraud. Well, if she paid into the Social Security system, then she would get it. That's all. I know he said, I don't think my mother would, what was it? That she would mind if she didn't get her check. I would lose my mind if I didn't get my check, is what everybody's thinking. So it's not really fraud. If it's owed to her, it's owed to her. Okay? And she paid into it. But thanks for asking. CC Sassy. Good evening, Arthur. Do you see citizens with, this is a good question, with dual Canadian and U.S. citizenship having to choose one, or will they stay as they are? I am a Canadian by birth and U.S. through my mother. I feel they're going to stay as they are right now. I don't see either or. They can't afford it. Because half the actors are from Canada. And they have dual citizenships. And there's several actors that do. And they said they would go back to Canada if that were to happen. So, right now, I don't think you have to choose. Okay. Thank you, Rick. Hope that helps. Oh, sorry. Hi, Arthur. What do you see as the last straw that will finally cause Trump and his administration to be removed? It's just not one thing. It's a series of things, one upon the other, that it's like the country suffering battered wife syndrome. And we've got these people going, yeah, well, he didn't really mean that. It's okay. And then one day the battered wife just says, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm out of here. That's what I see it happening. And let's see what happens in September, between July and September. Okay? Hi, Anya. Which way will this work out? If we continue holding large protests, will DT declare martial law? If we don't, will he claim we don't care and declare victory? Peaceful marches. Peaceful marches. And keep your camera phones on. Hi, Donna. Thanks for being here today. I have no life. I have nothing to do. Can your guides see? Just kidding. Can your guides see a huge revolt of marches in us against Trump? What will be the tipping point for us to revolt? It's already happening, people. It's already happening. I mean, the veterans, the main corporate media is not covering the protests. Like in Chicago. I mean, when ICE tried to get in LA, in Los Angeles, they closed down the freeway for the protests. They're there. And they're going to get better. And more people are caring. And more people are starting to realize, you know what? I don't have to drink the Kool-Aid. I can have a V8. Okay? So let's see here. Hi, Lori. Will Idaho be successful in turning gay marriage? They're going to try. They're really going to try. It's going to be razor thin, but I feel gay marriage will survive. Eventually, it is. Eventually, it's the law of the land. It is the law of the land right now. They're going to try, just like they did with Roe v. Wade, the chipping away at things. But at the same time, just like with the eliminating trans people from the military, when the judge said in my terms, it would be, are you on crack? When she said this breed, it's all an animus. There's no truth to what what you're protesting here against the Fifth and 14th Amendment, I think. So it's not going to happen. You can try, but it won't work. Okay. Hi, Suzette. What will happen to MAGA Army, the enforcer, when Trump is gone? Will they still be a danger to anyone they dislike? What percentage of Americans will be MAGA when Mafia Trump is gone? Thank you, Arthur. I think there's always going to be 20%, unfortunately. 20% of the Republicans, not the entire nation. They're not Republicans anymore. They are MAGA. But that's what I get. Do you see an interim government when Portly 5 is gone? I like that. If so, who will lead? One time I got a hit that I only got it one time now. So, like I said, this stuff is fluid. But I do feel that the House is blue before the midterms. They lose seats. Number one. Number two, if they were to ouster someone, I don't know who, I see the VP going down with him as a co-conspirator. And so that would mean the Speaker of the House becomes the interim. And I feel like it can be Hakeem Jeffries. Just saying. It's one of the visions I had. And I wasn't eating peanut butter before I went to bed. You really have to ask? Hi, Kate. Who is Trump's master? I think it begins with a P, ends with a T. No, it has a T in it? Yeah, and an N. Yeah. And it's not potato. Rasputin does. Putin. We know that. And I do believe there is a old Yeller tape. Let's put it that way. Any interference in Canadian election, asked by CJ. What cute kitty cats. Yes, they're going to try, but they're not going to get away with anything. They're not going to be able to do anything. It's not going to happen. Hi, Teresa Ortiz. Hi, Arthur. Happy to see you. Question. Will Josh Wheel win the special election seat in Florida? He's a teacher and Democrat. Thank you so much. I don't know which one is which. I know there are two seats in Florida. I've always felt one of them is definitely blue. The other one, I'm still not sure of. Depends what the Blob Boss keeps doing. I do feel the New York one goes Democrat. Let's hope this one. Let's hope they both go. I do know that one. I don't know which district he's in. I'm sorry. But the guys are just saying out of the two, one goes blue. Definitely. Okay. I think we can take this down. Do the CIA and Pentagon use psychics and remote viewers? Of course they do. Of course they do. Like, you don't think the popes have astrologers? Someone once told me the best books in astrology are in the Vatican, and not anyone's going to see them. You have to have special permission. She saw them. So yes, they do. Hi, Sally Kennedy. Will the Heritage Foundation and members be held accountable for their part in this attempt to destroy our democracy? You mean the Heretic Foundation? I want to say yes, but I'm not. What I keep on seeing is my New York apartment. When you turn on the lights in the kitchen, all the cockroaches are like scurry under the refrigerator. Some people are going to get questions. I'll put it that way. And when they get questions, they must just turn on each other. I didn't do it. He did it. Okay. I don't see the Heritage Foundation around in 8 years. Put it that way. Okay. Hi, Kathy. Hello, Arthur. Question. Do you see Kristi Noem being removed from Homeland Security? She gets arrested by the cosplay people because she's no Barbie. I mean, see the crazy outfit she's been wearing? She'll be removed. Don't ask me when. But as I said, when there's a new executive in charge, there's a new cabinet. Okay. Hi, Christian. Hi, Arthur. Love your show. Mexico has put 10,000 troops on the border, and they are fighting the gangs. Do you see the president of El Salvador helping Mexico and Trump mad? I'm really not seeing the president of El Salvador getting involved. I don't see it. He may say he is or something, like back channels, but I'm not seeing like Trump getting mad at El Salvador because, let's face it, he's paying El Salvador to keep, Venezuelan prisoners in their jails. So he's not going to do anything to mess up Trump. Hi, Sutad. Hi, Arthur. Thank you. We need to remember is that our elected representatives that are our representatives. How can we achieve being represented? Fairness and social justice for all. Do I sound like a broken record today? We do have the power. There's more of us than them. So sometimes it's like that guy that stood in front of the tank at Tiananmen Square. That's what we feel like right now. But we're still going to survive. Okay? Hi, Kelly Chuff. Do you see any of the felons' kids running for any political office? I see them running. Maybe from offices. But no. Because MAG is going down. I don't see it. If they tried, they get laughed. They wouldn't get far. Okay? Because daddy's donors are going to leave. So where are they going to get the money from? Selling Bibles? Crypto? No, I don't see it. Hi, Pixie Dust. Do we only need to set up an online SS account only if we are going to change out online banking information? As usual, things are not crystal clear. Thanks, Arthur. I'm not sure about that, but what I would suggest is make sure you have a Social Security account and take it from there. Do some research. I'm not sure on this one, to be totally honest with you. I'm not going to say something wrong here. I wish I could be crystal clear on this. But on the safeguard, I would say make sure you have a Social Security account and whatever's there. Somebody was suggesting to make a PDF of everything so you have it. Okay. Thank you, Sherry, who says, double check before April or April. How did you spell that? April 1st. Yeah, April Fool's Day. Well, you know what? Right in the middle of a Mercury retrograde. Thank you very much. Hello, Sally again. What is Melania doing and thinking at this point? Will she get in trouble, have any responsibilities for any of what she's recently occurred in Donnie T's antics? Well, she's got $40 million from Jeff Bezos, so she can go wherever she wants. Well, there's no extradition. I feel there's some things that they know she's done, questionable things around money. I'm not going to say the E word, but it's about money and grifting. I think that would be a good way of putting it. Did you hear recently that he's now trying to sell sponsorships for the Easter egg roll and have companies sponsor it? And he's like, it was like ridiculous amounts of money, and we'll give you good placement and all this kind of stuff, and you can represent it. And he's selling out the Easter egg roll, which has started what, 18 something? It's crazy. And then 1977, I think they started a fund for the Easter egg roll to raise money because it costs money to put that on. But still, I mean, I'm sure Sean Spicer could play the Easter Bunny because he has no job right now. I mean, he'd just be doing the job again. The MAGA who voted for... Hi, Christian again. The MAGA who voted for Trump are mad at AOC, are talking to the red states town hall. Do you see MAGA leading towards the Democrats? What is it? FAFO? Yeah. They're mad. And they're listening to Bernie and AOC. Have you seen the crowds that are showing up? They had more people at their rally in Vegas than Trump did at his. So it works. It works. Hi, Tam. Can we lose Social Security, etc., for protesting? No. That's what my guys are saying. I don't feel so. Do felons get Social Security? I don't know. Hi, Carol. How likely is it that the Doge divide will be distributed to taxpayers? Distributed dividend? Or is it just smoke and mirrors? Smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors. What, $5,000? If I were to get a check for $5,000 from this government because they shut down children's lunch programs, I would be taking that $5,000 and donating it somewhere. But I don't see it happening. It's just like he said he was going to bring the price of eggs down. Groceries, gas, housing. Cut the costs from day one, end the war in Ukraine. And now he's caught. He wants to go to Mexico and Panama and Canada and Greenland. Hello, Arthur. Question. Do you see more protests against Elon Tesla? Do you see Elon facing prosecution? You know, the other day he said the reason why people are, he blamed it on trans people, that there's that they're the ones protesting at the Teslas, that they're the cause of it. The man's certifiable. And I always like to say he has hair plugs, and that's hair, and isn't hair plugs gender affirming care? Just asking for a friend. Hi, Marie. Will Senator Mike Lee, Utah, end up in prison? He is such a MAGA, Russian asset, corrupt criminal in time. But then again, he might get a deal because he rolls on some people. So we'll see. Let's see here. You know, like a bunch of dogs showing their bellies. I'm innocent. Hi, Arthur. Will the right-wing premier of Alberta, Danielle Smith, be voted out in her next provincial election? She's not a team player. Yeah, she's the only one that didn't sign something because she's trying to play footsies with Trump. She's going to be out. Canadians are not going to tolerate that. And we love our Canadian people and friends. Hi, Warrior Widow. Listening to Stormy Trial, they talked about a meeting with the Republican heads at Trump Tower, and Gawker, the tabloid guy, walked in, and Trump said, "The guy knows everything. Was this a threat?" Of course. It always is. It always is. Are you talking about David Pecker? And his team? He's always threatening everybody. I mean, he's threatening judges right now. So come on. He's always threatening. Rita Carlson. Hello, Arthur. Do you know who or what was in the jet that flew to Russia February 11th? Well, it wasn't Obama's birth certificate. I think I can't really say. It's something secret. It wasn't the Ark of the Covenant. What was it? I feel it's documents, paperwork, documents, top secret stuff that Russia's not supposed to have. But then he's the president, so he can declassify anything he wants. Just uses the power of his brain. It's all going to come out, though. Okay? That is going to be revealed. Hi, Monica. Did you hear the leaked JD Vance throwing a tantrum over Elon? No, I didn't. But, gee, are we surprised? Quelle surprise. Because isn't JD Vance supposed to be the vice president when Trump is the vice president and Elon's the president? I've seen the press releases. Justine Paul. Migrants were found dead today in a camp in Miami from starvation and dehydration. Will this finally be enough for something to be done about them detaining people for no reason? There's sirens in the background here. Yes. They're going to try and cover it up. They may try and cover it up, but it'll be revealed. Okay? It's going to be revealed. And I don't know, does Satan maybe have his hands in this a little bit? Just saying. Not fact. Just saying. It's disgusting. Will RFK Jr. get wellness camps to happen and take away our SSRIS? I don't know. Social Security? No. This administration is all talk. The only thing they're doing is wreaking havoc, giving tax breaks to millionaires or billionaires. And now they're talking about putting him in charge of student vaccines. It's crazy. That's like giving... No, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Joji. Arthur, ease your mind. Thank you. Question. Election Truth Alliance and Smart Elections are groups of data scientists looking at 2024 potential interference and security future elections. Thoughts? What do you mean about potential interference? They know it. They know it. They just have to make sure they have everything lined up. Everything has to be lined up. They know it. And it's going to come out. And I also get something about crypto coming to the surface too, about some of the shady deals that have been going on with crypto and Trump and Elon, that they're trying to liquidate stuff into crypto so they can say, right, ain't going to happen. Jane Black. Arthur, how will Trump be written in the history books, or will the name Trump be written out? Remember Ethel Merman, singer, actress, gypsy, and all that stuff from Broadway? And of course, the best role was in It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. In her memoir, she was married to Ernest Borgnine. In her memoir, the chapter read Ernest Borgnine and was two blank pages. That's it. So I guess you have nothing nice to say. You don't say anything at all. Something like that may happen. Hi, Julia. Hi, Arthur. Do you see the outcome of the Wisconsin Supreme Court race? Does Crawford win? What, against the MAGA-based guy that Elon Musk is trying to put so much money into? It's going to be tight. Razor thin. I feel Crawford wins. And a lot of people are going to be upset. Yay. And a lot of people are going to be happy. Yay. Because Wisconsin is just not a state. I mean, it holds a lot of key issues here. And of course, Musk has trials coming up against, that will go to the Supreme Court. So he's trying to buy the court. I don't feel it's going to happen. No matter how many millions he spends. People aren't as stupid as they think. Wonderful Arthur, do you see them televising the Felon 45 arrest? No, but TMZ will do a really nice reenactment. I feel it will be. I don't feel it'll be live, but we'll see it. Just like when they raided. They didn't raid. They had a court order to go search Mar-a-Lago for classified documents. So they probably did show up quietly. And I feel that's how it's gonna happen. Okay. But it's not like they're gonna be whisking them away in the middle of the night. It'll be known. Probably after the fact, like 2 hours. Hi, Sage. Hi, Arthur. Can you see or say what the MAGA psychics are telling the Felon? I see a bronzer in your future that matches. I don't know if he's going to psychics. But then again, which Felon? There's several. We have a choice. They're probably blowing smoke. I worked for a phone line for a while. Some of the people that were supposed to be such good psychics, I know they were just blowing smoke and lying. So, collecting a paycheck. They're telling him what he wants to hear. Okay. Hi, Tammy R. Arthur, do you see Texas ever getting another Democrat governor? The current state government is written up ridiculously and terrifying legislation. Yes, I do. I do. I don't know what the cycle is, but someone's going to be rolled out of the office. Let's put it that way. Is that tapioca for thievery? Will Mike Johnson be investigated for child trafficking? Oh, God. When I first read about him, I always felt he was like good neighbor Sam. The really nice neighbor, perfect house, perfect kids, perfect wife. Gets in the van, drives into the forest, and there's that little cabin with the root cellar with children. Entertainment purposes only. I have a client who's a mystery writer. Anyway, I think there's something here. Where there's smoke, there's fire. We'll just see what happens on that one. There's other things he's going to be investigated on, believe me. Hi, Mary. If the military marches in 45's office to remove him, will MAGA or a militia of Trump take up arms against the military? We would then have a civil war. That's why they're not going to tell people ahead of time. Okay? It's not going to be like January 6th. free our president. No. There might be a couple diehards, but this is where the National Guard comes in very fast. But I don't see civil war. I see hiccups. Okay? Let's see. What happens to all the oligarchs once 45 and the whole administration is gone? They do deals with the feds. They go to Club Fed. Some may go to their own little private islands. But you know what? Whatever they've done here on this realm, they have to pay for it somewhere else. Just remember that. Hi, Warrior Widow. There has been a lot of earthquake activity in Southern California near San Diego. Do you see any big earthquakes near San Diego? I hope not. I just feel little ones, like 4s here and there, but not like, 7 or 5 and above. Just little things. But the little ones actually are okay the way I look at it, because it's just shifting a little bit and it's just releasing that pressure. I'm in Los Angeles, and unless my guides hate me, I feel they're going to tell me if there's something coming up, because I've got an earthquake bag right here. I have to go through it. I think some of that food is like old. Anyway, it's dehydrated. Hi, Elizabeth. What do you see for Puerto Rico as the earthquakes and hurricanes? I'm not seeing earthquake activity there. I do feel there's hurricanes this season. Are they going to hit like the last one? Well, I don't see Trump with, throwing paper towels at people. I get some water. I get some water damage. I get some electricity going out, but it's replaced faster than it was last time. Okay. If it happens, it's not going to be during his administration. Is how I want to read it. Hi, Jane. How will Trump and RGE Trump name go down in history? Or will everything that has happened or will happen just be passed over? Oh, no. History books will write this. I'm sure there's going to be lots of independent films like The Apprentice, The Crazy Years, 47 Meets Van Helsing. So, no, it'll be written. It's not going to be rushed under the carpet. Mm-mm. And I think we take one more question. So, Sherry, make it a good one. She's giving a thumbs up here. Or just a minute. Never too late to dream. I love that. Correct. Hello, Arthur. We met in Chicago. I'm Allison. Hi, Allison. Today is my birthday, so I'm asking for good news. Will AOC take Schumer's seat? No. But I've always seen her as the next Nancy Pelosi. Okay? And happy birthday, Miss Aries. Happy birthday. Let's see. Saturday was Mel. Sunday is yours. I think Sunday is Monday, but I'm going to say. So, happy birthday, sweetheart. Sherry's giving me a one up. What? Oh, thank you, James. Sterling says by summer, our military will take the King Trump out. Will illegal members of Congress be removed then, too? And what was that saying from the movie Fargo? You betcha. That I want to see televised. I want to see when MTG goes down, do we put her in the male prison or the female prison? We don't know. Entertainment purposes only. Just kidding. So anyway, thank you, everyone. I went a little over, but I have no life, remember? Thank you for putting up with me. I was a little silly today, but everything's great and wonderful. You guys are great and wonderful. We are in the middle of a Mercury retrograde. So I did put a post up on my post about a guided meditation called Embracing Mercury Retrograde. And it's all there. I have a whole set of guided meditations on my playlist and here at YouTube, but they're also available at Apple and Amazon. Just search Arthur Ease Your Mind and you should find it. So I would suggest that. And the one that's been listened to most recently is the ticker's been going up on YouTube is letting go of stress and anxiety. So I'd highly suggest that. Abundance and Success While Sleeping is another one. And another one is called Fresh Start. And if you're so inclined, there's also one called Awaken Intuition. Okay? And my intuition tells me that I've got a lot of wonderful people here today. 2,121. 21. That's like an angel number, isn't it? Let's hope so. Better than a devil number. Sultan, thank you. So yeah, it's been a crazy time for all of us, but we get through it. We survive. Someone's asking what's our... I mean, I think Trump thinks our national anthem is Wrecking Ball, and we're singing, I Will Survive. And I remember when YMCA was a gay theme. Sorry, just have to say that. So I giggle every time that happens. Fern Lil, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it. It really helps the channel. And Sally Kennedy, thank you again. Annette, we'll be all day thanking people. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm really blessed. Marby, thank you. I am so blessed with you guys. And all you need to do is subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. And join Insanity every Sunday at 3:30 in the afternoon here at Pacific time. And unless there's an earthquake, which I don't see coming. So anyway, I'm here. I'm not sure if we're going to be doing... Thank you, Teresa. Me, myself, and I. Oh, thank you. I was trying to keep that quiet, but thank you. Yes. I have a twin sister. She has birthdays. I don't have them anymore, but we'll be 136 tomorrow. That's a lot of candles. I don't have the birthdays, but I tell people do not look in the portrait in the attic. And if anybody's interested in a personal reading, I'm available. I've got openings, let's see, June, May, April. Do you see a pattern here? I have openings. So just go to my website, Arthur Ease Your Mind, click the appointment, and we'll take it from there. And I guess that's about it. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. It means a lot. Okay? So as I always say, take care. Take care of yourself. Take care of others. Have fun. And as always, stay amazing. Thank you. Good night. Oh, I'm supposed to hit this.